Hello, and welcome to another end of the month that happens at the end of every month. That made more sense in my head. Anyways, I hope everyone had a lovely June. Hopefully you all stayed safe and had a great Pride Month, though depending on where you are, that might have been a different case. But this is a manga log, and this is why you are here. I read a little bit more than May because I finally beat Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Great game, by the way. I had a video on it before I beat it, but really solid game. Really loved it. Put 100 hours, 120 hours, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head, but really solid. And I could have done all the side quests and stuff, but didn't really feel like it. It is a large game, so I didn't want to put all those hours that I could have put into it. But I got what I wanted out of it. But with me finishing that and me really just trying to focus in, didn't read as much as usual, but definitely read more than May. So let's get into the numbers, because that's always important. So I read a grand total of 20 volumes of manga, 2 comics, and I finished 1 series. Granted, I think it technically is 26 because I might have counted the comics, but whatever. Anyways, so a little bit more. Finished only 1 series, so there's that. But then also read some comics, which is different than usual. I finally got around to reading some of the comics that I bought, and read, I think the month prior of May, I think I only read 16 volumes in May, so definitely read a good solid amount. But anyways, let's get into what I read, and we'll start off with the comics because there's only 2 of those, and then we'll go from there. Alright, onto the comics that I read, not manga. There was only 2. I could have read more, but I didn't really feel reading all that much the last week, mostly because work has been busy. We're in the summer months, and being in a lighting production company, we work crazy during the summer months. So, was tired every time I got home. Anyways, on to the first of the 2 that I have definitely talked before, and I definitely do enjoy it. I should get the other volumes because I'm pretty sure they're out right now, but Monstrous Volume 7. This series is still really solid, really good. Like most comics, they tend to be a little bit more wordy, but the art style hasn't really changed as much as other comic series I've definitely have read, where based off of issue to issue they have different artists. But so far, the fact that there's only 2 creators involved with it, it doesn't seem to change up the style that much. But I will say the artwork is still very solid, and oh man, it is just really good. Like, look at this. Like, this is so good. Like, really good. And I'm happy with it. And one day I will probably do a video just on this alone. But for now, what you know is a really good series, and we'll one day do a video on it. It is what it is. So, on to the other one that I read this month. It is one that I have also talked about and have done videos on before. Not the comic itself, but the story it's based off of, and that is the Legend of Vox Machina Origins. Critical Role's comic on the Vox Machina, who their stream games started halfway through this story, essentially, and the origins are the telling of the pre-stream game adventures that they had before, going out into the world of playing Dungeons and Dragons on Twitch. This, still good. If you like Critical Role, you'll probably like this. It's not that hard of a sell, but if you've never watched Critical Role, these series probably pretty good, especially if you want to get into the show or the stream. Really good starting point. If you like it, then you will probably like the show itself. The show and the comic are slightly different, but this plays well with the stream itself. So if you want to go into the stream, go check this out. If you want to get into the show, you can just go watch it on Amazon. Yeah, but yeah, really solid, really good. The artwork is pretty solid as well, I would say. I'm trying to find a good page that's not too many spoilers. Yeah, just a whole lot of combat as well. Just, you know how it is. But yeah, really good, solid story. So yeah, that's about it. Don't read that many comics, but when I do, I like them. That made sense in my head. Anyways, on to the series that I finished. Alright, on to the one series that I finished, which is a spin-off series of another series that I am reading currently. But yeah, for the most part, it was very solid. Only 4 volumes in this, so it's not going to break the bank, and it definitely feels better if you've read the series to read this, because then you might... There are a little bit of spoilers in it. Not too many, but it is, you know, pretty spoiler for certain parts. But that is Bungo Stray Dogs Beasts. This is essentially a what if story where I am going to mispronounce these names. Atugara and Atoshi. If those two characters from the show switch places, essentially, not the show, a series, switch places, and certain other things didn't happen. Essentially, a what if as well as an alternate reality story. And for the most part, it's pretty interesting. I will say that I like the characters exploring their, like, a different side of them if they chose different paths or if they were given different options. Like, it is an interesting concept whenever a story does that, to see where it takes you when you are, you know, developing these characters, as well as sees where they might actually become fully realized characters, at what point they were. And I really enjoyed it for the most part, because, you know, seeing the similarities between these two characters, and how if one choice was changed, how crazy altered their lives would be, but at the same time how closely knit together these two characters are, and how their decisions really affected them and who they became in the long run. It's always a quite I say interesting a lot, but a unique take, essentially, is that sort of like the what if stories from Marvel, but in a way that these two characters were really the only changes, but because one character was chosen over another, it changes how other characters develop, because even though you as a person are affecting your own life, but your decisions are also rippling out into and affecting other people, and how that changes, you know, decisions. If you've never met your significant other, how different their life would be. If you never chose to go to one place instead of going to a different place. Like, it's an interesting concept to develop and theorize on. So I was really pleasantly surprised about this. Does it exceed or make no, let's scratch that. I think where the strength of this lies is to really show how the main story of Bungo Stray Dogs really shines a lot more because of these characters, and how very vastly different the story would have been if they, had swapped places. So, yeah, really solid. Only 4 in the series, so it's not going to break the bank. Because I think at this point there's 22 volumes in the main series, so yeah, that's about it. On to series. On to what I started this month. Alright, on to the series that I had started in the month of June. There was only 2, but one of them is, again, a sort of spin-off series of one, but the other one is a brand new one that I just randomly picked up because it looked somewhat interesting. So the first one that I started was Pandora 7. So this one's pretty interesting. I say that a lot. I really need to think of a better word than interesting. Unique. Maybe. Anyways, the story essentially starts off on an island with these different species. 7 different species, with this girl being the only human on the island, who is Leia. Leia? L-I-A. Leia, I think is however you pronounce that name. Anyways, she's the only human on the island, and she is being raised by essentially a dragon. And then on the festival of, this main festival of the island, the humans showed up, and she's like, oh, cool, other humans. They attack. It's like the Fire Nation. Bullshit. And then they're looking for this thing called Pandora's Box. If you know mythology, then you know you shouldn't open it. Unfortunately, she opens it. Because, her entire family and friends are dying and being injured, and she doesn't like that. So she opens it, and then they take her captive afterwards because a cataclysm happened on the island, and she is taken on their ship, is flying towards their kingdom because the humans in the world learned how to predict the future, and as a result kind of beat down everyone else. But on the ship she meets this lion dude that says, hey, the people on the island that your weird, wacky power that caused everyone to quote-unquote die, they're not really dead, but if you can close Pandora's Box, they will, be free from their whatever weird prison thing. And she's like, great. So her and her adoptive brother, who was, in the womb until that entire thing happened and was born, go on to this adventure trying to find a person that can close Pandora's Box. So her family is safe. But unfortunately, the humans are after her, and they're not great. They're not great people. Yeah. So it's a pretty interesting sort of story and how it is, and the art is also kind of cool at points. It reminds me of a sort of different kind of, like an older style drawings, but yeah, like, look at this. That looks cool. That's Pandora's Box. So, yeah, really interesting story, really unique characters, and I'm interested to see where it takes me. So, yeah, so far there's only one that I know of. They might have released the second one. I don't know, but Pandora 7. On to the one that is the spin-off of a series that I adore, and at some point will get a tattoo of the series. Not this specific one, but the the main series that it's from, and it is from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, but it's the one side stories, and that is Thus Spoke Rohan Kishibe. This is, from my knowledge, the only side story, like spin-off series of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. This is essentially I would guess sort of like an anthology following Rohan Kishibe, who was in part 4 of Diamonds Are Unbreakable, and he was the manga artist. And it's essentially just him going through the different sort of like side stories and stuff, like different parts of his life that he has run into and been privy to, the weird sort of horror type of deal at some points, as well as the different wacky adventures that he had. And really, it's just an interesting sort of collection. Like, he mostly just goes into weird wacky things just to find reference materials for his manga, which is very interesting. Like, one, he buys a mountain because they're supposed to be haunted, and he wants to write a story about a haunted mountain, and he's broke. But then his one editor is like, I want to go live on that another mountain, and he's just like, hey, I just spent like millions of dollars buying one mountain. And she's like, don't worry, I'm going to move there. And he's like, what? So yeah, it's a very odd like selection of stories, but they're followed by Rohan Kishibe, and it's very interesting to say the least. And I don't know where it's gonna go, because they're just all random and don't really like connect all that much, except a mention here and there. But yeah, if you like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, if you like part 4 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, then you'll probably like this. Hell, if you just like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, you'll probably like this. So yeah, alright, the 2 series I started. Let's finish the video, because this room is starting to get hot. Alright, I hope you had a lovely, lovely, lovely June, and I hope you enjoyed Pride Month. And hopefully you read some good manga that you will tell me about in the comments down below. Or if you have any opinions on the manga that I read, or the comics that I read in the month of June. So, leave a comment down below if you have that. Suggestions also. I'm always interested to hear about more manga that I should read, or more comics that I should read. If you liked this video, think about hitting the like button. If you want to see more of this bearded face, think about hitting the subscribe button. There's more videos, and I am sweltering. I really do not like the summer. It sucks. So, yeah, that's about it. Stay safe out there. Drink a lot of water. It is hot out now. Stay inside if you can. If you can't, like I said, drink water. Stay as cool as you can. So, and if you are inside, read some manga, play some video games. That's it. Bye.